So have I ever read for you in this type of mediumship? But I've done
No,
card readings, right?
card readings,
Yeah,
and you once did a live and someone came through.
perfect. Um, just because I do recognize your name, so I do always like to ask that. I say if I read for you in the past, if something comes forward that we already talked about, it just means that it's still relevant. Okay,
Okay,
I
perfect.
obviously will not remember.
It's all good.
Right? So I do like to start every session with just letting you know how my gift works and what we can expect. It's also my sign and symbol to spirit that I'm ready to begin. Okay. So the way that I feel spirit is I feel the love of the relationship. So for an example, a father figure could be a father, stepfather, grandfather, father-in-law, and uncle who play that role, but they'll give us evidence so that we know who we're talking to. Okay.
Okay.
So I see in silhouettes, and then I feel like a male's presence or a female's present. And then depending on where they stand next to me, will tell me kind of like the like parents come from above, contemporaries come from the side, children come from low, right? So
Yeah.
everything kind of comes in in certain ways. It's like a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle, and then they'll bring through validations, right? So I always say the roles that we play and the names that we go by are man-made, so there will be wiggle room. For like an example, if you had a best friend on the other side, she probably would come through as a sister because you loved her like a sister, right? Stepdads will come forward as dads, in-laws will come forward as straight connections, just to show us just the connection. So kind of keep that in
Okay.
mind as we move forward, okay? um I am mainly clairvoyant, which means they give me images. So I'll be looking down and looking up, and that's just to have a blank slate for them to put the images on. They then pair it up with other sensations and other sensitivities for me. So I do say it is like putting a jigsaw puzzle together between me, you, and spirit will figure out what it is that they want to say. Okay,
Mhm.
so there will be a back and forth. I will be asking you questions. If it's something that you don't want to expand on, you can just say like, I understand what you're saying. As long as I know that you understand, I can continue to proceed. Okay.
Okay.
Also, don't feel like you can't say no to me, right? So like one image may mean two or three different things to me. So if you're just like, no, I don't understand that, I'll just go to my next meaning of what that image means, right? And it's also a really great moment for spirit to do kind of like a check and balance. You may say, no, I don't understand that, but they're saying that it's accurate. So I will always go with spirit because you wouldn't believe what we forget in a session, right?
Mhm.
So this is why I love having it recorded, because then we're able to listen to it back. So if you hear me say, okay, just remember that I said that, that means I'm getting the green light to continue. If it's on my end and I'm not interpreting it properly, like I know that it's me. They usually don't let me proceed. It doesn't feel right, or I just know that I'm off the mark. So I'll just have to keep trying again until I figure it out. Okay.
Okay.
I also just let spirit come in the ways that they want, and then when they quiet down, we can open up and do questions.
Okay.
Sounds good? Perfect.
Yep.
And I do ask for this to only be positive. So if anything that comes through that may be that you may deem negative, it's always for your highest good. Like I don't predict death, so we don't have to worry about that. But if it's always what is for your highest good. It may not be what you want to hear, but it's always what you need to hear.
Okay.
Okay. I am going to start with the male figure first. So who has the father that's passed? And then he snaps his fingers, which is my sign and symbol for sudden or unexpected. Like we weren't expecting him to pass when he did.
Us, both of us.
Both of you? So is this
My
your
husband.
dad? Your
Yep. Yep. My dad.
Okay.
My husband.
Okay. Gotcha. Um and then how does he connect to the chest? Heart, lungs, chest, or breast, or anxiety?
Anxiety, probably.
Okay. But
He did
also
have a
what
heart attack lots of
okay.
years ago.
Okay. So, but then also was impact connected? So sometimes heart attack will feel like impact for me, but how else does the impact connect to him? So like did was impact part of the departure? Did he have CPR? Was it heart related? How come he keeps putting pressure on my chest?
It wasn't his heart,
Okay.
so I'm
So
not sure.
okay. So after his heart attack, did he have a lot of fear around heart health?
It was in our family.
Okay. Just because he keeps making bringing connections to the heart. So even if the heart does not was not contribute to the ultimate passing, he makes me feel like it was a big factor in his life. You understand
Okay.
that? Okay.
Yep.
So I don't know how to interpret this. This isn't something new. So he makes me feel like his passing just came out of nowhere.
It did.
Okay. And then he made me, he like the sensation that he gave me was literally like I just got hit by a bus. Like that was the feeling. Like I was not prepared. Next thing you know, I was in spirit. So how do you understand that?
We found out on the Friday that he wasn't eligible for transplant, and the next Friday he was gone.
Okay. And to me, the feeling was like it was such a blow that I could not, we couldn't even almost comprehend what was happening. You understand that? And then
Yes,
what organ was he having transplanted?
liver.
Okay. But he also makes me feel like he had issues with breathing at that time as well. So that was that just the failing, or was he winded because of his health, or how does
He kept
the
just telling us it was anxiety.
okay. So this is why he kept on putting, even though we addressed the pressure on the chest, he keeps bringing it back.
Okay.
Okay. So I do feel like anxiety absolutely played a part, but I also feel like that there was something to do with the functioning of the lungs as well. Okay.
Okay.
And this is all just him wanting to come forward, and then he immediately lifts it off, right? And he also shows me like that I don't know if he was holding on to a lot of fluid in his body, or if he physically wasn't looking like himself, because he just immediately made me feel like I completely changed in my looks, and I'm now back into perfect health. Meaning that
Yeah.
while he was failing, he you couldn't even recognize him. He wasn't even who your father was. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you still wear your rings, or did you do something with the rings? Where does the rings come in?
I haven't put them back on today.
Perfect. So this is
They're
just his. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, they're on the dresser. I haven't put them. I don't sleep with them on.
Perfect. So this is just his way of acknowledging that you still wear them, and acknowledging the ways that you keep him close. Okay. Are you a nurse, or did you care for him?
I cared for him.
Perfect. Because he said she was just the best nurse. I couldn't have asked for a better nurse. She did everything that she could for me. You understand that? So that's his way of saying, "Don't you dare," because you already replay with the doubts. You go back and you go, "If I would have did this, or maybe if I would have pushed him harder there, or maybe if I would have made him do that, that we would have changed the outcome." And he's saying that you did everything perfectly. And then he's laughing. He goes, "I didn't make it easy. I didn't make it easy." Right? So taking ownership over his own flaws, and how not only did you give him the care, but in his world, in his mind, he wasn't deserving of the elite care that you gave him. So never wanting you to have any woulda, shoulda, couldas around, feeling like you could have done more or should have done more. Okay? Do you have, I don't know what that means. He says he's on your fridge. So is that pictures on the fridge, or
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Because he's like, they see me every day. I'm right there. Okay. So validating. So I said, validate that I interpreted that correctly. And he's like, she needs to know that I'm there every single day. Every single day. Okay. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Um, did the coloring of his eyes change, or did he have issues with the eyes, or when they bring me to the eyes and have me zero in, it means that we replay that. So maybe it was while he was departing, he would like the eyes open, and when he was
Oh,
fearful, or how do you understand that?
yeah.
Okay. So this is his way of wanting you to acknowledge that he is okay, and he was okay at that moment, because he shows me being in the room with you, not in the body, meaning that he was already in spirit waiting for his physical body to let him go. So the reactions within the body was not because he was afraid or in pain or fearful or trying to say something that he couldn't say.
Okay.
Okay. He
Yeah.
also makes me feel like in his own way, because I also feel like I'm like, but did you? Because I don't feel like communication was your strong point. But he's like, he got to say what he needed to say, meaning that you had got to say goodbye, or that he got to say how much he loves each of you. You understand that? So
Yes.
just know that as you go back and replay, maybe I should have said this, and maybe I should have said that. He's like, there's nothing that is left unsaid, not wanting you to feel that something else should have been said, or that he doesn't know how much he means to you and how much he loves you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. So was drinking involved with the liver damage?
No.
But he says to me, earlier in his life, the choices that he has made affected his second half of his life. So how does that come in? Did he used to smoke in like his 20s, but then he didn't smoke as an adult, or did he used
When
to
he
drink
was
but
younger.
okay.
When he was younger, he partied.
Okay, because this is how he's making me feel like full circle, right? Like the choices that I had made affected my outcome. It was nothing that we did, is nothing that you did, is nothing that mom did. He's saying that this was already set in motion from decades ago. Because I just said, well, how can you, how did this happen, or can you tell me how this happened? And he brought me back to young version of him and the choices that he made there. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yep.
even though he bettered himself, and especially making me feel as though that drinking was an issue within his family, right? So that there must be alcoholism either with his parents or siblings, or there's somewhere around that
Yes.
he did everything that he could, and yet there was still consequences to pay, is how he presents it. Okay.
Yep.
Meaning that there's nothing that we could have done. There's nothing and that he accepts that, like he accepted his fate, in the sense of, I did what I could do. I would have been gone way earlier, way earlier in my life if I didn't make the changes for me. Okay, so just
Yep.
bringing through that understanding, and it's his way of saying like nobody else could have prevented this, because he keeps, when he has me go through all the medical papers, that's my sign and symbol of, we go through, go, where was the mistake, where can I find the mistake that would have changed the outcome. And he's like, you're not going to find that. And the outcome was as it should have been. You understand that?
Yep.
So who has his watch? Where does the watch or the pocket watch come in?
I have them.
Perfect. So just know, and then when he puts it in my hand, that's so acknowledging it is one sign and symbol. When he puts it in my hand, that's my sign and symbol that you have recently held it or touched it, and that his soul was with you in that exact moment. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Good. He also says as well, are you thinking about making teddy bears or pillows or blankets out of his clothing, or
My sister, who's on the couch.
perfect. 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 So this way is his way of validating all the ways that each and every one of you, including the sister, chooses to honor him and remember him. And especially for the sister, doing what she can to help you heal and support you. He says, thank you, sisters. Thank you to the sister for everything that, and it's so funny because I don't know if your sister and your husband were like siblings as well, because he's like, oh, she could give it to me. She could get saucy with me. She could put me in my place. That would be true.
It's true. She's a newfie.
Right? But like he needed that, even though it drove him crazy, he needed that. And he's so thankful and grateful that she's here helping the two of you heal at this time. So where does the tattoo come in? So do we have a tattoo in memory of him, or we think of getting one?
No.
So when they bring through the tattoo, that's my sign and symbol for that. Where someone is thinking, we either have a tattoo in memory of him, or we're thinking of getting a tattoo. And or it could mean artwork, like we drew a picture, there's a drawing, or if your
Yeah.
dad drew. But usually 9 out of 10 times it means the tattoo.
It's my brother. My mom
Okay,
just said.
perfect. So just know that this is his way of acknowledging and bringing your brother into the reading,
Okay.
and wanting him to know that dad is close by. Now,
Okay.
when I went to the brother, he immediately put pressure on my throat chakra, which means lack of communication. So, did he not get to say goodbye to dad, or are you not close with brother? Where does the lack of communication come in?
I'm not that close with my brother, but he wasn't there at the end, if that.
Okay. Okay. And this to me is does your brother smoke?
Yep.
Okay. Because he's like, he needs to know that I'm right next to him while he's smoking. So
Okay.
this must be where he thinks of dad, or has his like moments to think his thoughts and get his thoughts together. So the dad validating being present with him in that moment, validating the ways that he honors him, meaning the tattoo, but more importantly wanting to make sure that there is no fears or no woulda shoulda couldas connected to the communication. He's making me feel like your brother's having a hell of a time. Like
Yes.
for
Yes.
me, like it would be almost the denial of grief. Like so he's not even going through the processes, right?
He's not. He's avoiding it.
Yep. So and this is going to be damaging for him if he doesn't, Like he needs to forgive himself. And he also makes me feel like that there are some shame stories coming in with your brother. So like he has a lot already going, and then now he feels like he let that dad, and that dad's mad at him. But he's just like smacking him upside the head. He's like, I could never be. Like, stop it. All I want you to do is take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Okay. Does your brother have children?
No,
So where does the little children come in? Who has them?
neither of us yet.
Okay.
We have like a best friend that's pregnant that my dad, like, she's been around for 23 years.
Okay. Is this, but does she already have a living child?
No.
Okay. So is it just you and your brother in the family?
Yeah.
Okay. So mom, how do you connect to seeing or looking at childhood videos of your children and or pictures? Because your dad just kept showing me the little boy and little girl running around, and that would be his memories. If we don't actually have little children right now running around, then we're talking about the about his children.
Yeah, I've looked at a lot of pictures.
Perfect. So letting you know that his soul is with you in that exact moment. But more importantly, he says, this is what I remember. Those days were so much to cherish. He makes me feel like it was hard. Like we didn't have two nickels to rub together, but we were happy and we were in love, and the babies brought us joy, and it was everything that we didn't have is how he
That,
makes it feel. You understand that? So
that's true.
yeah, so this is what he says. Like you wonder what I think about it, and what I do and the memories that I keep. Like this is what he goes. He goes, don't, because he makes me feel like that there has been multiple shitty things that has happened in his life, right? And he
Yes,
goes, but right, and yet he still kept going, and he goes, and this is what I take. All that stuff doesn't matter. These memories of my children and my wife and the innocence of it all is what he brings forward with him. Okay. Um, was he also a smoker at one point?
no, back in university, the odd cigar.
Okay. So, what is that? Do you guys burn stuff? I don't know what this is. He keeps making me smell smoke, but it's something one off. So when I smell smoke that's one off, I would go to like, oh, it's a pipe or it's a hand rolled or it's a cigar. But it also can mean, oh, we had a wood burning furnace, or my dad always burnt, had a burn barrel in the backyard. Or where does the burning of things come in? Do you guys burn sage? Do you burn sweetgrass? Like, how does that come up?
We don't burn anything. I don't know if he's referring to pot. I smoke pot. Um,
So do you
not
smell
sure.
pot when there's no like pot to be smelled? Because he's using it as a sign and symbol. Okay.
I've been smelling weird things. Like I've been smelling like silver or water for
Okay.
like even before he departed, and
Okay.
it just recently stopped.
Okay. So remember that we talked about this and how he's bringing through the smelling of something burning or something smoking, right?
Yeah,
And that
I'm
he's
not
taking it.
sure.
Yeah, that's okay. Moving forward, because it's like you said, one sign and symbol stopped, which is
Hmm.
going to bring in room for contrast of this of the smelling of the smoke. Okay,
Okay.
and him taking acknowledgments of it. It's a sign and symbol for him to let you know that he's there. Was there also dietary restrictions for him, or was he also diabetic?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, because he just put 3 chocolate chip cookies in his mouth, and that usually means dietary, or we wasn't allowed to have the sugar.
Yeah.
So this is just to show you that he's doing everything that he loves. All the things that he had to go without here in the physical form, know that he gets to enjoy and indulge on the other side. Again, validating that he's in perfect health and that he is in that best version of himself. He also says that I have to explain that because he's in perfect health, he's going to come to you and may not look exactly like he does. Right? So if you're having a dream and it doesn't look like dad, but you know that it's dad, I always say it's like this shine your new version of themselves just to show us that they're in perfect health. Or we may even have the dreams where we wake up and we don't remember dad, but we knew that dad was in there. You know what I mean? So him just bringing through those validations that it may not be exactly him, but always go with that feeling that you know that it was him. Okay. Mom, he also says that, oh, did you just change your sheets or did you just get new bedding?
uh, I just changed my sheets before we left.
Perfect. So him just bringing through that, but he had me stop what I was saying to bring through that validation, but then he also said that there's been times where you felt him in bed with you, correct? So you either felt like the bed dip or you woke up in the morning and feeling like he was laying next to you. You understand that?
Yep.
Good. So know that that was real. Know that that was him in that exact moment being present with you. As we fall asleep, while we sleep, and as we wake up, we're still open to spirit. So it's always the big time where we will feel them without, our ego going like, "Oh, you're just making this up," and especially. So for me, the way that he presented it. So when I feel spirit, and I say that, oh, this loved one stepped forward. For me, I equate it to, mom, you'll know this is when you're a mom and you wake up in the morning, you don't even have your eyes open, and you know a kid is standing there.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that's what it feels like. But he said that same thing happened to you. You woke up in bed and you didn't even have your eyes open, but you can feel the heaviness of him laying next to you. So him validating that. Do you also keep a bed, no, sorry, a picture on the nightside table or in the bedroom as well? Where does that come in?
I'm trying to think.
Mhm.
I don't have a I have lots of pictures of um him, but I don't know if there's anything in the bedroom right at
Okay,
this moment.
that's okay. So what the way that he said it to me was she sees me at bedtime every night. So if it's not in the bedroom, it's like on the hall going to the bedroom or by the light that you turn out or however that comes in. And it's just his way of validating, saying good night to you and being present with you every day.
It's my cell phone. Every
Perfect.
night before bed, I pull up
Say
his
good.
picture and kiss my phone like a
There you go.
fool.
He's there with you. And it gives you comfort because it's him. And him validating that for you, that you're not just doing it and being silly, that you're doing it because you're kissing your husband goodnight, as you always did. And him validating that he is nowhere else but with you in those moments. Okay. So we still have his wallet, or do we also carry his driver license with us?
I haven't.
Perfect. So him just as bringing through a validation as well. They always will validate with a piece of evidence when we have a heartfelt message that comes forward. Okay, so this is just his way of validating that that I interpreted the message right, and that it is right that he's with you as you say goodnight to him every night.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
his driver's license is sitting on my kitchen table.
perfect, perfect. Um, Jen, how do you connect to the number 33?
I'm not sure.
Okay, how old are you?
35.
And how long ago was it that dad passed?
3 weeks ago.
Wow, that's soon.
Yeah.
Okay. So I cannot misinterpret numbers. They just are what they are. But the thing with numbers is I have no idea what they mean. You know what I mean? So I just say
Yeah.
them and drop them and go. It could be house number, it could be favorite number, it could be hockey jersey number, whatever. Right. So
Mhm.
just remember that he said 33.
Okay.
And I just said to him, I was like, geez, because what I find with like spirits when they cross over, they like that you only go to heaven. It's almost immediately peaceful. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not that they will feel different to me um the longer or shortness that they're there, but I find their ability to communicate because they have to learn how to use a medium too. You know what I mean? And so I was like, geez, you've only been there for 3 weeks and you're doing so good. Like he's doing so good communicating. So I love that. I'm impressed. Okay. Um, so Jennifer, you want to have children?
Do
Okay. Are you like in a relationship and trying to have children right now? But there's
I'm
fertility
married?
issues?
There might be.
Okay. So he hands babies to you, which is him saying you will have the family that you want.
Okay.
Okay. He also shows me that there's three souls available, right? So I would say two will definitely come in, and then you would have conversations of are we going to go for the third? Okay, which I also feel is also a yes. um, Now it's interesting because I do feel like that there may be some obstacles to the fertility, but I do not feel like you're infertile. Meaning, like, do you have PCOS? Do you have irregular periods? Do you know what I mean?
I
There's
have
things.
PCOS.
There you go. So there is obstacles, but I don't see it preventing